Greetings to you all. My name is Benjamin Ferencz, and I have been invited by Professor Aurora Chica to say a few words to you in connection with your studies of international law. I suppose that I was selected for a number of reasons. One, I was born in Romania. My sister was born in the same bed as I was a year and a half earlier. She was born in Hungary. Which taught me that it's not so much what the country is called, but how it treats its citizens. And that has stood me in good stead in the future. My parents were poor immigrants. They were fleeing from poverty and persecution in Romania and in Hungary. And we came to the United States while I was an infant. My career in the United States has been quite remarkable. We lived much of my life in poverty. I wanted to show you, when I visited Romania not too long ago, a picture of the house, or very similar to the house, in which I was born. It was a small house in a little village of Ciolt, which is near Satu Mare, where my wife was born. So it's been a long trip since that time. But Aurora has indicated that she would like to know my connection to Vespasian Pella. My first connection to Vespasian Pella was at the Harvard Law School. I was an honor student there, given a scholarship for my exam in criminal law. And one of the books I found in the library there was a book published in 1925 by a gentleman called Vespasian Pella. It was written in French, La criminalité des États et le droit pénal de l'avenir, which you will all recognize was the introduction to the idea of having a future criminal law which would hold states accountable for their crimes. A wonderful idea, and it's still a wonderful idea. And it impressed me so much so that I would say a good deal of my life has been influenced by what I learned from Pella. He fled when the communist regime took over after World War II, came to New York, and he was active with the Romanian delegation at the United Nations. I, at that time, was busy still in Germany prosecuting war criminals. I had been selected to be the chief prosecutor for the United States in one of the subsequent trials following the trial against Goering and company, in which I accused 22 defendants, high-ranking Nazi officials, all with high degrees, PhDs, many of them, for murdering in cold blood over 1 million Jews, Gypsies, and other perceived enemies of the Reich. I rested my case in 2 days, which was a phenomenal world record, because I had captured the reports which were sent from the front by these extermination squads known as Einsatzgruppen, and they were consolidated in Berlin, and there they were sent out in 99 copies to all the hierarchy of the Nazi regime, the army, which said it didn't know anything about that, which was a lot of baloney, and the foreign ministers and all the rest of it. And on the basis of that documentation, I was able to convict all 22 defendants, and 13 of them were sentenced to death. That was my introduction to the legal aspect. As a combat soldier, I had been a liberator of many concentration camps, and had landed on the beaches of Normandy, had been in the final Battle of the Bulge. So I had seen combat and the horrors of war itself. And what it impressed me with was the necessity to eliminate war completely. You'll never have a war without atrocities on all sides. And you'll never have a war without rape of the females, or even males today, on the other side. So if you want to curb that type of criminality, we have got to change our way of thinking about what laws are to be enforced and how they are to be enforced. And of course, it has to be done on an international basis. The world has changed. We cannot be going on with the laws which were invented 200, 300 years ago. We have to deal with the contemporary needs. Now, Pella saw that in his writings. Unfortunately, when he died, I was still working on getting compensation for the surviving victims in Germany. But I came to the United States shortly after that, and I met with Mrs. Pella. They had an apartment in New York near Fifth Avenue, near the Metropolitan Museum of Art. and I called upon her to pay my respects. And she said to me, I had had correspondence with him for many years. She said that since he and I were colleagues in the sense we believed in the same goals, would I please accept from her his library? His library was a large bookshelf, I don't know if you can see it here, full of books, mostly written in Romanian, which unfortunately I don't understand or speak because I left as an infant, but also in French, some in English, and she wanted me to take that. I said I didn't want the responsibility. They really belonged in a library. And Columbia Law School was right nearby, and I suggested she give them to Columbia. And she said she would do that, and she did. But then she brought out a little box, and in the box there was a bronze medal, which was given to her husband, Vespasian Pella. It had a embossed picture of the ambassador himself, who was a handsome, tall man with all of his medals, and it was given on the occasion, I think, of the 50th anniversary of Le Droit Pénal de l'Avenir, which he had founded, an organization trying to build the future international law. And she said, "Would I accept that?" And I did. And then I held that for many years, but then I thought it shouldn't be buried in my drawer. I want to give this to that international lawyer who has done the most to help carry out Pella's ideas. And so the first gift I gave was Professor Sharif Bassioni of the University of Chicago. He's an Egyptian by birth and served in the Egyptian army, but he was a very prolific writer on international criminal law, and of course we were good friends. And I gave him the medal, and I said, Sharif, you hold this until someone who comes along who you think deserves to be recognized as the leading person to carry this banner forward. And he held that for many years, and then he gave it to another professor, and he gave it to another professor, and so we have this Pella Medal is in circulation, being given to whoever is taking the lead in carrying forth Pella's ideas. And Pella's ideas are becoming a reality. We do have an international criminal court with all of its defects, but it needs continuing support because it's a new idea. Big powers are not eager to subject their activities to judicial review. And as long as they're not willing to do that, and as long as there is no power of enforcement in the international community, I'm afraid we have very little effect in putting an end to the type of atrocities which unfortunately we continue to view around the world. So Pella's contribution is there. It's there to be built upon. It's Romania's contribution to what we're trying to do. Romania has been very supportive of the International Criminal Court. Please convey my appreciation to the responsible Romanian officials. And I am hopeful that in due course, if we stay with it and never give up, and recognize that law is always better than war, I'm sure we will move to a more advanced and happier world than the one in which I was born in Romania. So Romania has played an important role in the evolution of international criminal law. There's still a very long way to go, and the name of Vespasian Pella is certainly a foundation stone for everything that we do in moving toward a more peaceful world governed by law instead of violence. Good luck to you all.